Welcome to another episode of Toad's Tunes. This is number two.
Heck
Number
yeah.
two. Welcome, Mr. Kelsey Hart.
Man, thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure meeting you,
Appreciate
dude.
Yeah, pleasure meeting you.
First time in Vegas.
First time.
Your whole band the first time in Vegas. Found this
Yeah.
whole thing out at dinner last night.
Yeah, we're definitely pretty wide-eyed going through the city, seeing all the stuff for the first time.
I know your radio guy, Mr. Todd Thomas, was telling me that you guys have never been on the Strip, so you guys are spending the night there tonight.
Yeah, so we were like 20 minutes from the Strip last night. I think they said
Northwest,
and we were right in the middle of it tonight. So
which is a good thing. So you're going to do your show,
yeah.
and then you're excited to get your butt out there and kind of like see the city, or
Well, we did that last night.
you did go see the
Yeah,
city.
so we went out last night. Todd and I went and checked out the city because we knew tonight after the show we got an early flight.
Sleep.
So I was like, tonight is the night.
That's kind
Feeling
of
it a little bit today.
Where did you guys end up last night?
Oh gosh, we went to from Stoney's. We went downtown and just walked around. We went
Like Fremont Street downtown?
like where the Bellagio.
Oh, okay, the
we,
Strip.
We walked past Bellagio and then went and checked out Old Red. And it's funny, we were about to walk in there and they were like, totally just lost track of time, just walking around. And it was like they had the doors already locked up.
It was already
I
closed?
was like, man, what time is it, Todd? And he said, well, it's 3:30.
Holy So you never made it into Old Red?
We never made it into Old Red.
Well, I still haven't been in there either, which is kind of
Yeah.
random.
It looked impressive.
It's a big place.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything I've seen online is pretty big.
hmm
It's cool. Where'd you grow up?
Man, I grew up in Western Kentucky, and just a small town there. And it's always funny when I first started writing songs in Nashville, I'd get in these co-writes, and being from a small town in Kentucky, like the first thing I would always say is my county,
Right.
like where I was from. I'd just be like, oh, I'm from Muhlenberg County, and this person I'm talking to that I'm writing a song with, they may be from New York or whatever, and they're just like.
The hell?
But coming from a small town, like, you're so used to just saying your county, it took me a little bit to realize that people didn't have no clue where that was at.
probably, especially being Kentucky.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, I could get that. That makes sense. I mean, I guess if you're in Vegas, if you said Henderson, not too many people would really catch the gist of that. But
Right.
county, Henderson County. I should try that sometime. Next time someone asks me where I'm from, I say Clark County.
Yeah, Clark County. Yeah.
And see what they say.
Exactly.
So did you grow up around music? Did you grow up like? How does this whole thing come together from Kentucky to Nashville to now
Yeah.
you're in Vegas?
Yeah, so growing up, for me, it was singing in church. Grew up singing in church, and I remember my mom like putting me in like talent shows and stuff when I was in grade school, and I feel like I was probably like in the 4th or 5th grade, and that was like my first like solo performance that I had at school, and I think that was like the first time that I thought, man, this is pretty cool.
You enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, and my mom, had always, she told me as a little kid, I was just always singing and stuff, and so I got up on into high school, and it kind of shifted to sports. It wasn't, I wasn't singing as much, and played basketball and soccer, and kind of got away from it, and it wasn't until after I graduated that I kind of picked it back up again, and started. One of my buddies, I didn't even play guitar at the time, like right out of high school, and he was a guitar player, and him and I would just sit down. He would play, and I would sing, and we were probably 19 or 20 years old, and we just decided one night we were out playing in the garage. We're like, man, we should just put a few more guys together and have a little garage band,
Little jam band thing.
yeah, and so we did that, and we practiced for like 2 weeks, and there was a battle of the bands in my hometown. And
Well, hold on. Let's start. How big is your hometown? Like how many people there?
there was in Muhlenberg County, I think altogether there's like 10,000.
Okay.
But that's throughout like the whole county.
So how many bands showed up to the Battle of the Bands?
Oh man, I think there was like 6 or 7
It's not bad.
that showed up, to do it, and we ended up winning the thing and getting this recording time, this free recording time in Clarksville. And so we showed up, and the guy there, he's just like, well, what songs do you got? Like, what do you want to record? And we're like, oh, we don't have no songs.
we're just here.
I was like, dude, like, what do we do? Like, we're here, man. And he's like, well, y'all got to get some songs. And so we go back home that next week and we write like 4 or 5 songs, and we go back to them and like we cut 4 or 5 songs. You know, the ones that we had wrote, and which is so funny looking back on, you know, now, because we write every day, you know, and it's like you may write 100 songs before you cut
Find one.
you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, then we were just like, oh, we wrote 5, we recorded 5.
Do you listen
You
to
know?
those today and go like, what the hell was I thinking?
You know, it's one of them things where, you know, looking back on it, it is kind of, with it being like the first songs, you know, that any of us had ever wrote or anything, you know, everybody, you got to start somewhere, you know, and it's, you know, at the time we thought we had our hits, you know.
Are any of those guys still in the band with you today?
No.
Oh,
So that
how
was,
funny would that have been?
yeah, I know. So they were all hometown buddies and still good friends of mine. But we did the cover band thing for a few years, and of course we did record our own originals, and would throw those in some too. But it was, you know, one of them deals where after a few years went by, people started, you know, getting married and having kids and
Growing up.
yeah, that started happening, and the practices was getting fewer and fewer, you know, between, and you know, even show days, like we just wasn't having as many shows, so we decided to pull the plug on it, and
What was the name of the band?
it's called Boys Abroad.
Boys Abroad.
Yeah, so that the street that my parents lived on was called Broad Street, and so that's Boys Abroad. We started in the garage. So,
Cool shit. Actually,
yeah.
I think you should at some point write a song about that. Like, get your
Yeah.
ass back to that time and place where you came from.
Yeah. So after that kind of wrapped up, I had been to barber school and was barbering in my hometown. And, you know, I'd been in the barber shop for probably three or 4 years, and, you know, loving what I was doing. I mean, you know, even to this day, I always say, you know, cutting hair never even didn't feel like a job to me. I
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I started splitting the time between cutting hair and going down to Nashville to write. There was a girl, her name was Laurel Kittleson, that had found me on Instagram, and she told me, she's like, hey, I think, you know, you got what it takes. If you'll start coming down here, I'll, you know, start booking these rights for you.
So, what did you have on Instagram? Some of the songs that you've written before?
No, it was like back when like Instagram kind of just started, and it was like you could just post like the 15-second clips or whatever, and I was just posting covers, you know. And she had she sent me a private message on Instagram, and it was just like, hey, you know, love your voice. I'm with Big Machine Records in Nashville, and, you know, would love to meet with you. And I remember just reading it and thinking like, oh, this
is a joke.
This is a joke, like, yeah, whatever. And
probably lives in India.
Yeah, I was like, this ain't right. Then I guess it was, you know, she messaged me right back and was just like, well, you know, some of our artists here at the time, she was like, it was Tim McGraw, Taylor Swift, and all, you know, just started going down the
These
line.
little people.
And I was like, oh, wow. So then I go to like the Big Machine site and I see her and her name and stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's real. I was like, yeah, that's a real person. And so I go down, and I think this was in like 2015, and meet with her. And from that point forward, she started every week just kind of running my calendar and setting me up with rights every week.
That's pretty cool.
So,
and that was based on doing covers? She just liked your voice?
Yeah, she thought I, you know, had a cool voice, and she knew at the time like that I didn't have any songs. You know,
so I guess in that sense, if she was booking you to do rights, you just assumed that you could write, or did you guys have a whole conversation about that?
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like,
did you send her those 4 or 5 songs that you had?
Oh, she heard them. Yeah, and that's we laugh about that to this day, because I'm just like,
you still work with her?
Well, so she was with Curb Records where I'm signed now, but she in the last or a couple years ago, she went to a different company.
Gotcha.
But we still keep up with each other and
love it.
Good friends, but. Yeah, but we laugh about that. And I'm just like, that early on, like in my career, I'm like, you know, how did you even like see anything in what I was, you know, what I was doing, you know?
It's pretty neat though.
But she was, you know, that's what, you know, she's good at her job, and as an A&R, like that's what they do. You know, they have an ear and an eye for, you know, what they feel like can move the needle, you know. And
It's so crazy when you look back at some of the artists that get found by somebody that's just doing that.
Yeah.
And they see something that other people don't see. I've kind of done that for years at Stoney's as well with the music stuff and curating bands to come through every Friday. I mean, I would literally take the time to go listen to their music and see their socials and follow them and just see kind of like what their attitude and personality is and their drive because and then I'd book them because I'd want to see them live. That was kind of how that whole thing works. But that's neat that she was doing that too.
Yeah, man, she was real. I mean, I say if it wouldn't have been for her, I mean, I like to think I would have still, you know, went and chased it.
Made it, yeah.
But, you know, her, I didn't even like know how like the writing community worked. I was so outside of it.
Well, let's talk about your first write. She books you your first write and you go sit in there. I've heard this analogy that it's like almost equivalent to a first date. Because you just go in there, you're nervous, you're shaking. Like it's kind of like, is this person gonna like what I'm gonna bring up? Is that pretty much what it was for you?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was like I'd never, you know, the only songs that I'd been a part of writing at all was in my garage with my band buddies.
Give me a name of one of the songs you wrote back then, just like the title of it.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready for it.
I don't know if you are. All right, Whiskey Wink.
Whiskey Wink.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure that you didn't bring that up in Nashville at one of your rights.
Yeah, I mean, I was, you know, that was one of them I had, I'd sent to her early on, you know, to Laurel, but yeah, but getting back to the, you know, being in the room, like for the first time, like I didn't even know, like I remember one of my first writes hearing the guys, cause you get in there and you know, for the first 20, 30 minutes, everybody's just catching up, you know, how's it going? What's new with you kind of thing. And
how many people were in the first write?
And I think it was just, there's 3 of us, pretty sure. But I remember the guys talking about a publishing deal and just hearing them talk about it. And I was just like, just listening in, and I'm like, well, so y'all get paid to write songs? And that's how clueless I was. They're like, oh yeah, man, like we get,
it's a thing.
We get paid it's a salary, you know, we get paid to write, and then if if one hits, and you get paid more, you know, from, you know, if the song does well or whatever. And I was just that green to where I was just like, oh man, you know. And as far as the writing portion of it, I mean, I had ideas and things that, you know, I was bringing to the table, but as far as just crafting a song, like I feel like for the first, you know, gosh, it seems like year, like I would just like was just all ears, like, cause I'm like
soaking it in.
Yeah, man, because I'm in the room with guys that have been doing that. She started putting me in rooms with people that, you know, were hit songwriters, and you know, as the new guy that was just clueless, I'm like, man, I'm sitting in here, I'm just absorbing a lot of this, and just trying to even see how this works, you know.
Is there a song that you're proud of today that you sat in a room with, like something that you brought to the table or that you were a part of that just will always stick out to you?
Yeah, man. So those first few years, you know, just
don't say Whiskey Wink.
Yeah, that's it. No, those first few years, I mean, it was a lot of learning. I'm still learning, but you know, I'm about 8 or so years into it now, and I've just been around these guys, you know, I feel like it have made me such a, you know, much better writer. And I feel like, you know, 2 or 3 years into it, one of my co-writers and good buddies, Kyle Schlinger, him and I just, we had a 2-way write and wrote a song for Trace Atkins called Live It Lonely.
Nice.
And Trace put it on his 25th anniversary record. And I think, you know, that was, I think we wrote that song in like 2020 or so, you know, around then. And I remember having that feeling like, after we wrote that song, just the 2 of us just going back and forth and, you know, both contributing a lot to the song. Like, I remember at that moment kind of being like, okay, like
this is what it is.
I feel like I'm falling into, you know, being able to be a songwriter and like, you know, just finding my groove, you know. around that time.
Do you enjoy the writing process, or I used to ask this question a long time ago, but let's bring it back. Like, if you had to put them in place, let's talk about writing, recording, and playing live.
Yeah.
Like, what put those in an order from your favorite to mid to, I don't even want to say your least favorite, because if you're in the wrong industry if you have a least favorite in that, but you know what I mean?
It's all, I enjoy all of it. Performing is definitely my favorite. I mean, I love to sing. I mean, that's, to me, like, that's where it all started, was just, you know, and that's the reason, you know, Laurel had me in these rooms. It wasn't because of my writing ability. You know, she believed in me as a singer. And that's, you know, for me, what, how it all started, and what I love doing the most is singing. And then for writing, like, I have, like, kind of gotten to a point where I feel like I don't want to write every day. Like, when I was, you know, for a while, I was writing 4 or 5 times a week.
It's a lot.
And it's a lot. And I kind of felt like, almost like I was kind of losing, like, my, you know, just kind of focus and interest in the writing that much. My favorite kind of writing is when me and, like, some of my co-writers or whatever have an idea that, like, we've talked about, or, you know, something that we're excited about writing.
Yeah.
That we going into the room, you know, to write. I've gotten to where I like doing that a lot better, rather than just showing up and trying to come up with something.
What did you sit in there and they're like, "What's your idea? What's your idea? What's your idea?" Like, pull out your notes. Sort of thing.
Yeah. And I still do that, and I, you know, will, you know, as a writer, I mean, that's part of it too. But my favorite way to do it is, you know, having an idea that you're really excited about and passionate about, and then going and being intentional and writing that song, versus just everybody sitting in a room and just going like, well, what are we going to write today? And, you know, and then us settling on an idea that's like, you know, whatever.
Yeah. And let's get into recording. Is that something that you enjoy?
So recording, I mean, we just finished my first record. So
how many songs?
It's going to be 15 on it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So it'll include, I think there's 6 or 7 songs that have already been released, that are just going to be tied into the record.
Okay.
But yeah, so during the recording process for this is like the most time that I've spent in the studio, and it was a lot of fun.
You wake up in the morning and that's all you did?
Yeah. Well, so for it kind of the way it goes, it's like we, you know, had the session or 2 different days booked to actually go in and cut the songs with the band. And so that process, just cutting the songs with the band, happens pretty quick.
Right.
And then, like, there's, you know, a whole nother side to it to, you know, once you got all the songs together, then me and my producer have to get together and cut vocals, you know, for each song.
You spent the most time in there.
Yeah. I mean, as far as in the vocal
for band
booth,
wise,
and,
yeah.
But yeah, it's you know, the music stuff happens, then the vocal stuff happens, and then, you know, behind the scenes, you know, my producer's doing his thing, putting parts in there, and, you know, then it's getting mixed and it's getting mastered, and it turns into a, you know, 3 or 4 month deal.
Is the whole album done already?
Oh yeah,
it's done.
Yeah, it's ready to be. It's already.
When's it coming?
May 31st.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a Friday.
Yeah.
The whole thing's gonna drop.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people just release a single every 2-3 months and keep doing that. So when you drop the rest of this album, it's gonna be what, 7 or 8 songs?
Yeah, new ones. Yeah.
To do the whole thing, you're just gonna drop them all at one time.
Yeah. So we actually yesterday, the song called "Burn My Summer," it was kind of the lead off single.
Right.
It came out last night. So that was.
How'd it do?
Man, it's doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's. I've been really fortunate to have, you know, in the last little bit, a lot of support on all the DSPs, and it's had a good, like, first day.
It's a crazy industry, man. When you sit back and you think about just how many artists are really out there and putting out music.
Yeah.
It's nuts to think that there's that many people out there that consume it the way they consume it.
Yeah, it's crazy to me, like, to, you know, having, you know, my first radio song, like, you know, it's crazy to me to, like, to be this far away from home, and, like, even playing last night in Vegas, like, having people, come
Sing it back.
Yeah, and like having people come up and and say like, hey, I'm using this song for my wedding, or like, I heard this song and that's why I'm here, and it's like all this it's new to me,
Sure.
so it's just like, dang, I'm a long way from home and this is cool.
Well, it's kind of neat that probably gives you that gratification to know that you're doing something right. This
Yeah,
is your
man.
path.
Yeah, it does. It really does feel good because just like, everybody that's, that's done this and chased a dream, it's like, you knock on doors forever, trying to knock one down, and it's like,
Yeah.
when you finally get that like little bit of, like, oh, okay, maybe I'm, headed in the right direction,
Your off time, dude, like what's your favorite thing to do other than cut hair?
Oh man, I love to like ride four-wheelers. That's always been like one of my favorite things to do.
Freedom, right?
Yeah, man, and I like to cook.
Okay.
And not like my wife says, like, she's like, she's like, I don't do sides. Like I'm a grill guy.
Right.
I guess I should say I like to grill. So I got me at my smoker and a blackstone beside each other, and
Flat top.
yeah,
Yep.
and that's kind of become like a new hobby of mine. Doing
So
that stuff.
ironically enough, I got a smoker. Love it. I got a Traeger 780. I fucking love that thing.
Oh yeah,
I love it. I bought a Blackstone. I used it one time, made some breakfast on it, never used it again because I hated cleaning it. Things are a pain in the ass to clean.
Yeah, it's not the most fun. And I have noticed like there's been times where I'm like,
I'll get it tomorrow.
well, yeah, that, or like I won't. I just won't use it because I don't want to clean it.
Right. Well,
so that I've ran into that too.
I just got a sous vide. Have you ever sous vide anything before?
What is it?
It's
Oh, wait, that's the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my buddy did some pork chops for us the other night.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That is so cool.
My buddy Jeff, he's made. I probably had 3 or 4 tri-tips of his.
Yeah.
And he always has to make mine separate because I can't eat paprika, Lowry seasoning salt. I'm allergic to something in that.
Yeah.
So I always get one with just salt and pepper on it. But I always get a whole one. I don't want to say to myself, but that's kind of, I'm blessed enough to have friends that care about it. But dude, like a 20-hour sous vide tri-tip, medium rare.
Solid.
Unreal.
Yeah.
And I just did one, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. I did a tri-tip and I did some chicken. And it was pretty neat though. Like you do that and then you finish them on the grill, or like just give them a nice little sear on the end, and that's heaven. I'm the same way as you. I'm not a side guy. Like that's not my favorite thing to make, but
I can heat up a baked potato. You know what I mean?
throw it in the oven, fork it, put some salt on it, call it a day, right?
Oh yeah. So my buddy with that, how do you say it? Sous vide?
Sous vide.
Sous vide. So the pork chops were like that thick, and with pork chops, I've always had a hard time of drying them out.
Right.
Like when I smoke them or grill them. But with that, he got it to, close to temp, and then he just took them out and seared them on his grill. And they were best pork chops that I've ever had.
Heaven.
They was, juicy. They wasn't dry at all.
Yeah, I didn't understand the process for the life of me, because it's like you bring it up to, I want to say that tri-tip was 135 or something like that, but it just you could sit it there for 2 days at 135 and it's not going to cook past 135. It just doesn't make sense to me that the water sits there and that's just what it does. But it's, dude, the best thing in the world.
I think that may be my next thing.
They're not very expensive.
Yeah, that to me seems pretty cool. And I don't know if have you grilled pork chops much?
Yeah.
Maybe you know a way not to get them too dry, but like I feel like every time, like with pork chops, and I'm like, maybe the water's the trick.
I always brine them. That's what I always do. Anything like that. I've been going through this thing where I brine chickens, whole chickens, for like 24 hours, and then I'll smoke them.
Yeah.
And stuff them with like the same stuff that was in the brine, the apples and onions and oranges and stuff.
I did that with the turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
And whiskey. You got to put Blue Valor whiskey on.
Blue Valor whiskey.
I brine everything in Blue Valor. It's so damn good.
Yeah.
So and
we really need a shot of Blue Valor.
You do. I don't drink, man. That's like, I own a whiskey company and I don't drink. There's something wrong with that. But yeah, you're going to leave with some whiskey today. I got some hats and stuff to you from Famous Enough as well.
I'm so excited about that.
Dude, you should be. It's kind of neat. I know. I'm bummed you guys didn't try it last night, but that's all right.
I know. We'll definitely have it tonight.
So being out on the road, getting stuck with Todd, I know that sucks, but it is what it is.
It's very unfortunate.
What's been like your favorite place to hang out? Like as far as on this like radio run or as an artist playing, like what's been your favorite so far?
Oh, man, to be honest, like it's all like so different. And like before this, like I haven't been like this world traveler. Like,
Well, we know you've never been to Vegas, so
like,
there's a good start.
I mean, like there's not a whole lot of places I'd been. And so, I mean, to me, man, I've just had a blast doing it all. We spent a lot of time out west. We've been in Colorado and California and now here, and spent a lot of time in Texas.
Right.
And dude, I mean, it's all been a little bit different, but honestly, I've really enjoyed all of it.
Do you have a goal of a place that you want to headline?
Oh shoot, man. I've always thought that the Red Rocks looked really, really cool.
That amphitheater's badass. So
yeah,
I've never seen a show there, but I've been there 2 or 3 times. My buddy lives in downtown Denver, Nick, and we've gone there during the day, but I've never been there for a show.
Yeah.
It's like
I've never saw it in person.
Yeah, it's neat. It's a neat place. It's a neat drive into and everything.
And then I seen that the Sphere.
Hey, you want to go U2 and Bono on us, all right?
Now that's that may be do they even let country singers play there?
I'm sure. Well, I know that U2 just did like the opening residency of everything there. I know the UFC is gonna do, I want to say, Mexican Independence Day. They're doing a fight there, which will be kind of cool.
Oh.
I know that I believe Fish just played there too.
How many people does that place hold?
I honestly don't know the answer to that question. It does look pretty neat. I would guess a couple thousand. I would guess. I don't, but offhand I don't. That's a great question.
Yeah.
It is I've never been in it. It looks neat from the outside. That's for sure. You know, I went.
Google that, Todd.
Yeah, do something. Shit, sitting over there sleeping. I went down for F1 when it was here.
Oh, cool.
Last year. Was that last year? I think it was last year. But I got real close to the Sphere, and it was.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Like
we just saw it just driving by, and it looks. I mean, so on the inside, like when you're in there, it's kind of that same deal, right?
My
like
understanding, you look up, but my understanding is like it's round and the seats come up like this, and the stage is down at the bottom, and you watch the stuff on the screens on the inside as well. Yeah, I don't. It's kind of weird. How many? 18,600. Holy shit, 18,000! Oh, so my 2,000 was way wrong. That's a lot of people, man. I don't even.
You was just talking about the VIP.
Yeah, I was talking about the line outside. How many people are waiting to get pizza or something, man? Yeah. It's funny. Well, let's go back to grilling. What's your favorite thing to grill?
So, my favorite thing to grill is a ribeye steak. And like in the last couple months, I've started working with this company called 44 Farms.
Okay.
It's a beef company out of Cameron, Texas. And they sent me like my first like batch of stuff to cook. And I'm not even kidding you. I smoked it. So I'll take you through my.
So wait, hold on. Let's go back. So do you post this on social?
Yeah.
And that's why you have the deal with them?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I go down, I do stuff with them, post some stuff on socials. Just, a great company. But like, the actual product was like so easy to get behind because I'm a steak guy anyway. And it was funny when I shot like the original video, the marketing guy called me and he's just like, dude, he's like, man, you killed that reaction like when you bit into the steak. And I'm like, dude, that came from a real place, brother.
I wasn't acting.
I wasn't acting, man. I was like, that was good. But so I don't know how you do it, but I like to do the reverse sear.
Yep.
And so I'll set my smoker at like what was it, like it's like 200, 225 or whatever. And I get the steak to about 110 or 115. And then this is kind of a little bit of a weird thing, but I saw it and tried it and loved it. Once you pull it, you let it rest for a minute. You take just a light coating of mayo. It sounds weird.
Yeah.
On both sides before you sear it. And then when you get ready to sear it, I like to, do the butter and, whatever kind of else, seasonings you want to do. But I'll crank my grill up to 500 and, sear it that way. But what that mayo does, it creates like just a little bit more of like a crust.
It's pretty neat.
On the outside. It sounds weird, but it's really good.
Can you use Miracle Whip?
I'm a mayonnaise guy.
There's that fine line. You're either Miracle Whip or mayonnaise,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I love
yeah.
Miracle Whip, man.
Oh, okay.
I'll eat mayonnaise too, but I love Miracle Whip.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I definitely, if there's no mayonnaise, I'll settle.
Have you ever had a hanger steak before?
A hanger. I don't believe I have.
You should. Like fillets?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
To me, a hanger is like the stepchild between a ribeye and a fillet. You get
Okay.
the same marbling from a ribeye, but the tenderness of a fillet. That's all.
Okay.
I love ribeyes too. I only eat a fillet when I'm lazy. Ribeyes are
Yeah.
for when you're not lazy because of the fat, you know,
Yeah.
the cap and everything. And
Yeah.
but a hanger steak is probably the best cut of meat that you'll ever have. You can thank me for that one later. But
Yeah.
ask your 44
So that's
meats
not
guys.
that's not a brand. That's just the cut of meat.
It's a cut of meat. It's
is
off the
the hanger.
diaphragm. It's off the diaphragm of a cow, right in front of it. But if you
Okay.
talk to your 44 meat guys, it's what's called the butcher's cut.
Okay.
So most places don't have it. You have to go, like the grocery store won't have it. You got to go to a butcher to get it.
Yeah.
But your meat
They would
company,
know. They would know.
They would definitely know.
Yeah.
Let them talk you out of it. Whatever. Just send me one or two.
Yeah. Hanger.
They're about like that big. I'd say about 66% of the size of a pork tenderloin. The size of a pork tenderloin.
Okay.
And it's the best piece. You put salt and pepper on. That's
Yeah.
it. You don't need to put
Good to
anything else.
go.
That's it. Medium rare. Cut it against the bias, and you're
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a hard time like straying from a ribeye, but
Do a hanger. And
yeah,
then
but I will
let me
try a
know.
hanger.
Let me know. I promise you.
Yeah.
Everyone that I've told about that story, that just to go try to hanger, they're just like, I still love the ribeye, but that hanger was the shit, dude.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
so good.
Well, I'll have to give it a try.
You better. I'll be mad if you don't, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's dive into personal life. And you told me a little bit about how you met your wife, but let's let everyone else know how you met your wife.
Yeah. So
It's kind of a neat story.
yeah, man. So, my wife's from Utah, and she came down to visit in Nashville, and I was living with a buddy at the time that he knew one of the girls that was in her friends group, and so when they came to Nashville, they didn't have a clue about anything, and they were like, "Hey, can we come and y'all show us around?" And so my buddy Dustin, he's just like, "Yeah, man, like some girls are coming over tonight. They want us to show them around town or whatever." And I had actually been out the night before and was like pretty hungover. And I told him, I was just like, "Nah, dude,
I'm out."
I was like, "I'm out on this one." I was like, you take them out, show them a good time, whatever. I'm staying at the house." So they get there. They're all just kind of down there hanging in the kitchen. I hear them all talking. There's, probably 4 or 5 girls in that group. And I walk down there just to grab something out of the fridge, gonna go back up to my room.
Bullshit. You wanted to go see.
See, had to check the situation.
There you
out.
go. There you go.
Yeah.
Am I really that tired and hungover?
Yeah. Well, see, that's where I changed my gears. Because I go down there, and I really was didn't have plans on going, and I saw Omni with my wife, and I was just like, I looked at Dustin, and I was just like, "Man, I think I'm feeling better, dude. Like I think I can pull this together, And so we all went out that night, and we just bar hopped and did the Nashville thing, and but the first place we went to, it was like everybody else. It's first time in Nashville, was super excited just to run into the bars and start drinking and hanging, and it was like she walked in with me, and we both went up to the bar and got one drink and went and sat down, just me and her at a table, and we talked the whole night. Everybody else was bouncing around and going to different bars and this and that.
You guys stayed at the same bar?
Of course, they were all kind of in a line, in Midtown, but we just held it down and just talked most of the night, and I think we both knew that felt something, but it was I remember when she had told me she was from Utah, I was just kind of like, oh, so far, this feels good, but that's a long way. And so when she went home, I just kind of thought well, that's probably it. And that next day, we just picked right up talking, and I don't know if there's been a day that's went by since that we haven't talked.
It's kind of cool.
And we done long distance for about a year. We're every month, either she would come to Nashville or I would go there, and so yeah, we did that for a year, and then she moved to Nashville.
kind of a sweetheart story.
Yeah, man. It's pretty, like, looking back on it, like, it's pretty wild how it, how it lined up.
It's nuts that she just happened to be there, happened to have those friends.
I just, to me, it's so weird. Like, you think about those moments in life, like, that change, like, the course of everything.
Yeah.
And Todd and I was talking about this because it's kind of the same situation that happened with his wife, like, just a random.
His story's a little bit different. If I'm not mistaken, his story was he walked in the bar and saw her and goes, "I'm gonna marry that girl one day." I believe that's what happened with Todd, and he didn't lie. He didn't lie.
But yeah, just like the randomness of it, though. Just walking in a place or whatever. Like, that's kind of how I think with Omni, I'm like, she just. I mean, what if they didn't come over for us to show them around?
Sure. I mean,
it's just like
one little change.
One little change, and it's just like it's weird to think how much your life can change around just a small little detail.
Man, I think that in life everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I think you manifest some stuff. I've been going through a lot in my life lately, and there's probably about 3 weeks ago I woke up in the middle of the night and I just started talking to God. It was the craziest thing in the world, and then the next couple of days were just a lot of highlights for me in my life. But the world is, it works in crazy ways, man. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everything happens for a reason. I think you meet people for a reason.
Yep.
That sort of thing, which is probably one of the coolest things in the world, man. People that pay attention to that stuff. A lot of people don't. A lot of people think that it just happens because it's supposed to. But I think that you manifest stuff and you believe in stuff, and God put stuff in front of you for a good reason, which is rad. I just think that was a cool story you told me last night. I just thought it was super neat, man. That's just the idea of friends of a friend came over and then you guys just clicked, and that's what it was. But the chance of, I mean, if you would have gone downstairs and wanted to be curious or were just really super, one more beer that night, the night before would have ruined you or something. Yeah. But everything led up to that, which is neat, dude.
It's wild, man. Yeah, I remember when she, when she had first moved to Nashville, like, we just kind of had those moments where we were just like, we're doing this, ain't we? That long distance thing, turned in, to.
I think it's kind of also cool. I mean, you were probably in Nashville for a little bit, but that's not your hometown.
No.
And it's not her hometown, so you guys are really diving into Nashville together, which is super neat.
100%.
How long married now?
We got married in August 19th of 22.
Right on.
Yeah.
Kids soon?
We have started, like, talking about it and entertaining the idea, but and I know, and even as I'm saying this, like, I know there's, like, you can't plan it and there's not, like, a perfect time, but, like, the conversations that we've had have just kind of been like, so much has changed in our lives in the last few months, just with me being gone so much, and, like, all the the radio tour stuff happening, all these shows coming in. We just wanted, the conversation we had was like, let's try to figure this out, like, for us first, like how this is going to be, to
with you being gone so much right now,
just to kind of get an idea of what this is like, before we dive into that, So, it's definitely something we're both excited about, but just wanting to, make sure we kind of have a grasp of, a little bit of what's going on first.
Yeah, it's a big change, man. Going from being together all the time and then all of a sudden you're gone all the time.
Yeah.
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 So it's a big difference. Let's talk about goals in music. Like, where do you see, like, 5 years?
Man, I would, for me, like we talked about earlier, it's always been, just, performing, like, and singing, and, like, I just, as I'm, growing and releasing music, like, I mean, I have fun, just playing for, 5 people, but, like,
sure,
it's also, like, it does feel good to, like, kind of feel the crowds grow, and, like, I just want to keep, the trajectory going of, playing, these clubs, playing these theaters, to, hopefully in 5 years, playing arenas.
Right.
Do you
have an artist that you look up to that you'd love to go out on the road with and learn from?
Yeah, man. I've always been a big fan of Blake Shelton.
Right.
And
he sucks at his job, but right?
Yeah,
I mean, what has that guy done?
I mean, he's just barely getting by. But so my manager is Blake's production manager.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and so actually
a little bit of a tie there.
Yeah, man, a little bit of a tie. We've I got to meet him and Blake and Gwen during CRS and stuff, and talk to them, and it was cool.
Well, I think that would probably be something cool to go out on the road with. Is there an artist that's popular today that's maybe not as popular as him that you'd like to go out and sow your oats with?
Oh man,
Like I look back. So the reason why I'm asking that is because you look at something like you look at this Morgan Wallen tour and the people that he's bringing out with him, the Bailey Zimmermans and the Nate Smiths of the world, and even the Jelly Rolls of the world, jumping on them. And then there's some smaller artists that are on there as cool. Is that kind of? Do you think that's that type of tour is where you'd like to see yourself, or do you like maybe the Cody Johnson, Ian Munsick approach to things?
Yeah, man. So I just watched Cody Johnson's show at Bridgestone last month or a couple months ago. And he's another one, man, that like, you know, he's been doing it a long time. He's, you know, played his butt off out there. And like, you know, you can just tell, you know, the way that dude commands a crowd and has just got it dialed.
He owns it.
He owns it. And like, and I think it's really neat too. Just like, you know, he was talking about at Bridgestone how he's like had the same like band, like his player like had been with him for like 12 or something years, 12 or 13 years. And like, you know, you can just tell by listening to him talk on stage, like, you know, it's like a, you know, family dynamic, you know, and that's, I think for me is like, you know, I just want to surround myself, you know, with great people and, you know, kind of, you know, try to do that thing, you know, have just a good, you know, core group of everybody that feels invested and feels like, you know, they're feel like they're really a part of something, you know.
Sure.
And so I you know, I think Cody has done a really good job with that. So
I watched Deer Rodeo, and did you see that? His documentary?
I have not.
You need to watch that. It is badass. It talks about his rodeo days up until his music stuff, his wife and everything like that. Myself, I wish that would have came out like when Till You Can't came out.
Right.
Because it just would have told another piece of the story. I actually got to sit with him. He played at Stoney's, and I got to ask him some questions about, you know, going to the next level and doing the things that he was doing. It was just so neat his grind is unreal. Like literally. I mean, there's a few artists out there that I could like point a finger at that grind like he did and was able to go to the labels and say stuff and like, no, I already have that. And I'm like, what can you do for me as a partner sort of thing to keep growing? And the industry has changed so much. I mean, Todd's a great dude, knows the industry, which is badass. I think in a sense that like you got yourself in some good hands with stuff, which I appreciate. Like anyone he's ever sent my way, I've already appreciated right off the bat because it came from him. So this whole thing doing with you was very easy to do because obviously I don't think Todd would ever work with someone who didn't grind, who didn't put forth the work and everything like that. So kudos to you, dude, for having that. Todd and I actually had some fun last year, and we were sitting at Stoney's, and we were sitting at the bar, and I think we were with Tim Duggar at the time, and this great question came up, and it was the Mount Rushmore of music. The 4 people that you would put up on Mount Rushmore that got you like influenced in music to where you are today. Who are those 4 people going to be?
Man, I would think for sure. I mean, Blake would have to be one of them because he's been, you know, for me, kind of my guy, you know. Yep. And gosh, man, George Strait, and vocally, if I'm just putting one of my favorite vocalists up there, Ronnie Dunn.
Oh shit, yeah.
I love Ronnie. And man, gosh, who else would I put up there? That's tough, man.
It is a tough one.
Yeah. So you got those 3 up there. Who would you put?
This is for you, not for me. I mean, I threw Todd for a loop back there because I threw some bangers up there, some people that have been in the industry a long time, and then I threw a gentleman by the name of Jake Worthington on mine just because. Oh,
dude, what a stud, man!
Dude, that dude is unreal. And my point was, they're like, really, you're gonna put him up on Mount Rushmore? And I'm like, yeah, you watch. In 10 years, you're still gonna know. Yeah. My opinion is you're still gonna know who that guy is because he writes from the heart. He sings from the heart. He's a good ass dude. But I mean. That was me. Yeah. I mean, I went with some stuff like you did, but the other side of all that is like I see some shining in some of the younger guys that are new and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, since going that's an interesting like route to go too. I've got a buddy that I think he's the most talented person that I've ever met as far as a writer, player, singer, all that. And you know, somebody that I think people are going to know of, and Wyatt McCubbin.
Wyatt McCubbin. I'm gonna go look him up.
He's just he's writing a lot with Cody.
Okay.
And like Riley Green and them, but he's one of those guys that, I mean, he'll play, write, and sing most anybody under the table.
Really?
You know? Oh, he's
How'd you meet him?
He's well, kind of funny. The guy that pretty much introduced me to my wife, you know, that brought the girls over.
Your roommate.
Met him through
No
him.
way.
Yeah.
Do you write with him?
So we haven't wrote probably in the last couple years, but we've probably wrote 10 songs together.
Right on.
Yeah.
Any of them that you've released or anyone else has released? Are they still sitting in a bag somewhere?
No, I think the songs that we've wrote together, Dustin, our buddy, he's released a few.
Okay.
Yeah, but I haven't released one that him and I wrote.
Let's have some fun. Favorite baseball team?
Dude, I don't keep up with baseball.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But that's always fun. Football. You follow football? College? Pro?
Not really football. I mean, I've always been a college basketball guy.
There you go. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I've always.
You Kentucky fan?
Yeah, I've been a Kentucky Wildcat fan, you know, ever since I was little, and watched them over the years a lot. So,
I love college sports. Maybe not as much today as I used to, because that NIL thing I think is going to screw up the whole industry of sports. But we just went back the end of last year. We went to North Carolina for a Dylan Carmichael thing.
Yeah.
And I went to Duke and I went to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I was like, those are two of my favorite programs in the world. They really are. And it was neat to go to both of those campuses and just walk around and soak up the culture, because it's super neat. I mean, it was my first time at either one of those, but it was a goal of mine just to get there. I mean, I would have loved to seen Coach K back in the day coach a game.
Oh, yeah.
Which was, there's the thing that just came out on ESPN. I don't think it was a 30 on 30, but it was Roy Williams and Coach K. And they sat together and they just had a guy there that was like just asking questions and stuff. There was a little bit of a crowd, and something came up about Roy Williams went into a house and to recruit a kid, and the kid was disrespectful to the mom, and so Roy just got up and walked out. And then Coach K said something along the lines of, "Man, there's a difference between a talent with character, and a talented character." And I was like, holy shit. Like, if you really think about that analogy between the two, is there's a huge difference in that. I mean, a talent with character is way different than a talented character, because a character always takes on that role of maybe some entitlement sort of thing. But they both said the same thing that was really neat to me, that they were glad that they weren't recruiting anymore because of just what's going on today. I mean, you look at college sports and you look at, there was, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 college football players that made more than Brock Purdy did, and he played in the damn Super Bowl as a quarterback for the Niners, and there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, you watch a lot of soccer?
Man, I played soccer.
Yeah.
In school, but I've never really
watched
it. No, I always enjoyed playing it, but I never could.
It's funny, if it's on TV, I'll watch it every now and then and just kind of like freak out, because those guys are just they run for 90 minutes straight.
Oh yeah, that was like because I played basketball and soccer. And when soccer was finishing up and we were going to basketball, like the guys, you know, when we would start conditioning for basketball, like to me, I was like,
you're already there.
Oh, I was there, man.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that was the nice part about going into basketball conditioning, because I mean, those guys are out there dying, and I was just like, literally in soccer, you know, you just run.
That's it. Well, think about this. I always like to say that motocross, those guys are in better shape than soccer players.
I raced motocross too.
Did you?
Oh yeah, that's from I was 6 until I was about 15.
Any Loretta Lynn action, or did you just
so
stay local?
I went to the Lorettas and watched.
All right.
But I ran a local point series. We didn't like run around the country like a lot of these kids did, but we my parents, like, I remember my first dirt bike was a little JR Suzuki 50, and I raced an indoor event like in my hometown, and then from there,
is that considered arena cross? Or was it just a bigger dirt bike track?
Yeah, I mean, it was an indoor. I guess it would have been like an arena, you know, cross, but it was a kind of a smaller place. It was like where they would do like the rodeos and stuff. Like, but that's where my first race was, and then like, I guess, you know, from that point, like, I kind of had the bug. I loved it. And so there was a few counties over, they had a track that every Wednesday night they'd have practice, and Saturdays was the races, and done that for years.
So fun.
Yeah, man. That's what.
I grew up riding my whole life too. Never.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I ever raced was I raced the mini moto here.
Yeah.
2 years in a row on a little 107. Had an SGG blown out. Super fun bike, but they're little. But I mean, it's crazy. I look like a monkey on a bike is what I look like. But super fun to ride. I got a 450 CRF 450R now.
Oh wow,
it's a big boy. So in 2004, I bought a CRF 250R in 2004.
I had an 04 CR 250F.
Okay, Yamaha.
Well, this one
250F. That's
it was a Honda, so it was the Honda CRF, right? 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CRF.
CRF 250. Yeah.
Okay.
It was an 04 model, and it sucker. That one was carbureted. It wasn't fuel injected.
Same. So I rode that thing up until like 3 years ago, and my buddy was selling his 450 online. His girlfriend posted it and said, "Hey, good deal." And I was like, "That's not a good deal, but I'll give you this for it." And I ended up buying it. I was going to keep it for a little while and flip it.
Yeah.
But I rode it to Prim, and brought it back, put shocks on it, put new handlebars on it, like redid everything. And
what year is that one?
19.
So it's fuel injected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's fast as fuck too.
That carbureted 04 I had, like the last bike that I raced as a kid was a YZ85.
Right.
So as an adult, like I haven't been on these like newer big bikes. Like an 85 was the biggest bike I ever raced as a kid.
Right.
So
that was a 2-stroke too.
Yeah, it was 2-stroke. So I bought this bike probably 5 years ago. In the carbureted 04 version, I could not believe how fast it was.
Yeah,
I was just like, I mean, unbelievable. And then and I have not even been on a fuel injected bike. So, and I know that's a different level than.
I literally swore, everyone's like, dude, you just need to get a 450. It would change everything. Just makes life easier. And I was like, nah, I'm fine on my 04. I mean, I rode the thing for 20 years, 19 years. I just sold it. To my buddy Jake.
That's wild.
And I ride the 450. And I rode that 450 one time. And I was like, I'm sold. Sent it to my buddy, got the suspension done, put new bars on it. It was like, I love this. It's so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, next time you come out, I only have one. Well, I have that bike. I have a 110. I got the 107 still. And I just picked up a little Grom for a street bike Grom, just farting around.
I can't, one of these days, like when I hopefully have a little bit of property and stuff, I think I'll get another bike.
Yeah, they're fun, dude.
Yeah.
They're totally fun.
And do you like trail ride it?
Yep.
Yeah. And don't have trouble with it overheating or anything?
Especially, it's even 120 out here.
Yeah. That's nice.
It's I literally ride from my house too, which is even, there's a single track that goes all the way to California. So I can ride forever and ever and ever, which I like. It's super fun.
That one I had, we would trail ride it. And like if I'd be with my buddies that was riding slow, like 4-wheelers, like through the woods, it would overheat on me. And I talked to the mechanic or whatever, and he was just like, yeah, man, he's like, those bikes aren't designed to creep.
Yeah.
Like they're designed to go.
Yeah. Well, and I don't ride with friends because a lot of my friends that ride, they'll ride for like 10 minutes and they'll stop. And when I talk, I'm like, bro, I don't want to talk. I would have stayed at home. So I usually ride by myself. I just go out in the middle of the desert and sweat my ass off and ride. And I love the road that's this wide.
Oh yeah.
Anything wider than that might as well have a quad.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Quads are fun. Dude, this has been a blast. Tell people how to find you online, man.
Yeah, man. So Kelsey Hart Music on Instagram. And I'm on, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. And just on all the socials,
Love it. You do your own stuff? No one else is behind there?
So it's kind of, we both do. Yeah. Like the label they'll post like the stuff that's got to be posted. Sure. And then I post like the personal stuff.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, congrats on everything where you are today, and I look forward to watching you grow, man.
Well, man, thank you so much for having me in here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
Thanks again for the time.
Yeah, thank you, buddy.